Ignoring your brokerage statements during these volatile markets could be a big mistake. The Street's founding fellow Susan Antilla has more. Susan, nice to see you.
Hi, Rhonda.
You've written a really interesting piece on online security and customer brokerage accounts. And basically, if anyone is listening to advice, don't look at your statements, don't worry about the selling, they could be putting themselves at risk.
Yes, I mean, through all this volatility, I've seen people, on TV commentators saying, rip up your statements, don't open them up. I'm like, oh my God. The reason it's really important in this case is that most firms have some sort of, they call them online guarantees, although there are a lot of caveats. And the first thing they say in these guarantees is you've got to check your statement regularly for the guarantee to kick in.
And we are talking, by the way, about now somebody hacking into the account. They're not guaranteeing that your account is going to make money.
Right,
so this is a case here where you don't know what's going on and suddenly you look at your account and there's money that's not there.
That's right, right. An online fraud or over-the-phone fraud where somebody takes money out of your account. And so all of these companies like to say, we'll give you your money back. And but if you start to look at all of the things you have to do, there's a lot of responsibility put on customers, along with looking at your account regularly. If you share, I couldn't find a single firm that will give you your money back. If you share any of your password information with somebody, that's it. You'll never see your money back.
Including, say, your spouse.
Including your spouse, that's right.
So these guarantees aren't very strong at all then?
Two of them were. TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab have very few conditions that they put on theirs. They really stood out for that. In fact, the only two conditions they put on their guarantees are what we just talked about. You can't share your information with anybody, and you've got to check your account regularly and it makes sense. I mean, if you're not looking and somebody takes $100,000 out of your 401k and you report it a year later, you really do have a responsibility to look. So those two firms are pretty liberal in what they allow you to do. But most firms go further than that. Almost all of the firms say that if you click on a phishing email, it's all over. You've got to, so people really have to understand what phishing is and how people send you these phony emails that look like they're from Merrill Lynch and they're not. You really have to do some work.
It doesn't seem really fair, and I also wonder if some customers who are used to banking every day, where there are perhaps stronger guarantees, might assume, well, listen, it's all a financial company, I'm going to be treated the same, and that's not the case.
No, it's not the case at all. And banks have other obligations that brokers don't have. So this is the brokerage firms trying to respond to all of the paranoia that all of us have about getting hacked. And it's great marketing to say that they have a guarantee, but they aren't all real guarantees.
So what's the best advice then you give to people that have brokerage accounts?
Well, you're nuts if you share your information. As you said before, even with your spouse, you shouldn't do that. If your firm offers you any of those things where it's called two-factor authentication, where they'll send you a text to your phone and you have to add that number to your password, use it. I mean, that's a great, great way to keep your account safe. And some of these guarantees require that you do that. Something that really surprised me is a lot of the firms say don't use your password anywhere else. And that's great advice, because if a hacker gets your password from, if you're using that password for your healthcare account, the hacker gets your other information, finds out you've got an account at TD Ameritrade, I mean, they're in if you're using the same password. Also, some requirements like have at least 8 characters in your password. And the thing that I tell people is don't use a word that's in the dictionary, because hackers have these programs that they run. They just go through the dictionary until they find the word that you're using. So, use some nonsense word.
Boy, it gets so complicated.
It is complicated. It is complicated.
But important advice. Susan Antilla, thanks so much.
Thanks.
I'm Rhonda Schaffler for The Street.